How's it going, everybody? Just got through my cardio, and as always, have a lot of thoughts during cardio. I'm assuming from the extra blood flow. But this I've been thinking about for a long time. I really didn't want to make a video about it. It's just a realization come to me probably 2 months ago, and I have to make the video to clear my mind because I don't know why. If something just loops, I get something on my mind, it just loops and loops and loops until it almost drives me crazy until I get it out. I experienced that when I was at my old job for 14 years. And when I finally was able to leave that job and I woke up my first day after quitting, there's big relief come over me. And a few people have asked me this, like, what was the biggest difference, or what was the best thing about, probably say, what was the best thing about being able to leave? And I said, well, probably the main thing, the best thing was I didn't have this constant voice in my head saying, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? To the point it was almost like a form of Chinese water torture, to where it was this one drop every minute from the time my eyes opened to the time my eyes closed. For 14 years I heard that looping in my head. How do I get out, with these small breaks in between when I get hyper focused on something else. But then as soon as it was quiet time, that thought came back. And then when I woke up after that first day of dropping my badge off and throwing that lanyard in the garbage, which felt like a giant boat anchor being cut off of me. When I woke up, I was just like, it's gone. Thank God it's gone. That voice is gone. But it's a long way of saying, like, I have to say this to get peace of mind. But I was listening to the gist of what I have to say is why I think that our view on abortion, abortion has increased the amount of, increased the amount of, not necessarily increased the amount of pedophilia, but increased the more acceptance of pedophilia. Why is the pedophiles that was already out there, why have they become more, less afraid? And I think that ties back into how we describe abortion, though, this all stems back to, or I come to this thought was, I was listening to I think it was a YouTube short of Sean Ryan's podcast, and he was talking to a guest on there, and he was asking the guest, why has pedophilia become so, I guess you'd say not so rampant, but so accepted? As not that long ago, it was calling them, it was trying to get it to be pedophile to be called a minor attractive person, and to lower the consent age. And it just started ramping up, like how it wasn't seen as such a, for majority of my life, it's kind of like a universal thought that those people are, if anybody should be just thrown in the wood chipper feet first, that should be the ones that, we all agree, what's what good are they doing being on this earth? A predator to their children. And it was, it was kind of agreed that, if they do go in prison, they're caught and they go to prison, well, that's the death sentence for them, because even the craziest psychopath, goat molesting, chopped his mother's heads off, nut job, says don't mess with the children, and one of those people will kill the pedophile. But is that still so? I don't know. Somebody's out there and they're guarded at a prison. I don't know. Do they really feel that way, or are they just looking for the green light to justify cutting somebody else's throat? I don't know. But why I say that is, I hate to say it now, but it's because it's calmed down a lot. But it'll come back up. It's calmed back. It's calmed down now since more of a conservative side has took control, and I think a lot of people are being, or they maybe if they're not being told to, they feel the need to, sit down and shut up, because you're kind of outnumbered in your crazy liberal thoughts, and to which these people have no, anyhow, I say that, but they, it was ramping up to the election. When I was growing up, abortion was seen as something as like, it was kind of like a last resort. Somebody kind of felt like they was backed in a corner to do that, and it was kind of kept quiet. They didn't really want people to know that they had done that, and it wasn't very, I knew of one person that had, and it was just like, it was a rare thing. And then that kind of turned into, I guess you'd say more common. And it was seen as like, well, I can't give this child I'm not going to be able, the situation I'm in, I'm not going to be able to give them a good life. And, so it's become more common for that reason. And then it kind of, turned into like, form of birth control. A form of birth control that's like, if the regular birth control didn't work, you really was trying not to have a child, and whatever, the other birth control didn't work, and so it was the next step. Then he kind of like, well, it seemed like, and I'm not saying this is everybody's situation is not the same, but the narrative of how it was being accepted got to this point to where it's just like, well, if you get pregnant, just have an abortion. And then the whole, it's trying to, well, it's not a baby, it's a fetus, and it's not a fetus, it's it's just a clump of cells, and it was trying to be the redefined as it's not a baby, which I don't even get how, like, if you can just redefine something, it's like redefine a grizzly bear as a teddy bear and go out there and pick up one of its cubs and see if that matters, is what I say to that. It's like, yeah, you can call it a penguin, you can call it Krusty the Clown, whatever, but it's still the result. When you pick up one of its, and don't call it a cub, call it a fetus. Pick up one of the Krusty the Clown's fetuses out there, it used to be a grizzly bear with cubs, and see if the same result is still, the same thing is going to happen when a year ago it was called a grizzly bear and a cubs. Same result's going to happen now that you have redefined it as Krusty the Clown and with a fetus. So So that redefining, and then it was all of a sudden what I saw this within a year, within 6 months, it was it was getting closer and closer to seem like Trump was probably going to be the president, that people was freaking out, the liberals was really freaking out, and so now they was kind of like saying that your life depends on, talking about scenarios where some girl bled out because she couldn't have an abortion in whatever state. Now it's like, if you get in one of these life-threatening situations, you're not going to be able to, you're just going to have to like, suck it up, buttercup. You're not going to be able to get an abortion. We don't care if you bleed out. So then it kind of went from that, and it seemed like that wasn't getting the result they wanted, so it kind of turned into this whole, it's like you're going back into whatever, the 1600 dark ages, and women's going to be in bonnets and skirts dragging the ground, and the men are going to determine, basically you're going to be treated like a some kind of breeding mare, just useful for bearing children for whoever. You're not going to be able to even choose who you have children by, and you're going to be out here churning butter, and one kid on the hip and one in the belly, and 3 more running crazy with your bare feet in the mud. Insanity. And then it eventually got to the point that people was trying to describe. I personally know someone that described a baby as a parasite. They said, and this is before they had a kid, I just wonder if it's still a parasite. And they was in the medical field to beat it all. And I'm like, you don't even know the definition of a parasite, and you're going so far as to describe a child in a mother's womb as a parasite. And then it got to the point, the last one I saw is just like they started describing abortion as health care. And then it seemed like that wasn't getting enough attention, and so it got to basically to the point as a positive pregnancy test was the same as getting a positive on a brain tumor or cancer test. It's just like, you're done for. It's, denying the abortion was the same as denying surgery on the tumor, or denying, you're done. Every pregnancy is a death sentence now. If you can't get abortion, you better shave your head and sew your vagina shut, because life depends on it. And that was pretty much the last of it right there. I think they've calmed down. I'm not seeing any shaved heads other than my own, and it's not in any kind of protest. It's a result of wanted short hair, and I didn't want to go get a haircut, so I done it myself. Said screw it. But that's it. Not going insane or nothing. But I say all that to say this, that if you go to the point that you change the definition of a child to a fetus, and the definition of a child to a parasite, and then it's actually, and then you change the definition of a child to basically a tumor in your body, a death sentence, just for the fact of one being created in you, that if you create this thing, you're done for. Your life's over, and you bring the definition of a child all the way down to tumor or cancer. What you've done, you have devalued, you have made it not only something that was worth, I look at my children, I put them above almost everything else. I mean, it's like, I couldn't imagine, you know, what did you, they say you can't imagine, did you know you would, could you imagine you loving something that much? You don't know what it is until you have a child. And, you know, it's not even a dog or, you know, I gotta shut up. I'm gonna start to rambling. But what I am saying is, you get this, you bring them down to, they're not only, instead of having something of high value, because, you know, the children are essentially our future. And it's you think like, well, I'm just gonna, not my future, I'll just live and die, and when I'm dead, what does it matter? Well, when you got, when your hind end is scooting around as an old person, somebody's got to keep the lights on. Somebody's got to make the food and, you know, haul your hind end to therapy and make all the drugs you're going to be taking and, you know, whatever, be the next doctor to perform test after whatever on you, and you know, so it is eventually that, you know, the children today are going to be, all of our futures are going to be, if we live long enough, going to be dependent on them. So what I'm saying is, you take something that was described as and seen as highly valuable, all the way to lessening the value to, it's like, it's a neutral, to all the way it is a negative. It is basically something you do not want at no cost whatsoever, that it's actually going to kill you if it comes into your life. Then it's going to lose protection. The protection it used to have from all of us is going to be lessened, because we're not going to protect something that we don't hold with much value. And I say that to say this, that it's not like, you know, the pedophilia has increased. It's the people that have those tendencies have noticed that lack of protection, and they're more bold to do what they want to do and to actually reveal themselves and not be afraid to, you know, as I say, reveal themselves, who they really are and how they feel and what they want to do, because they can see that protection kind of slipping away. And I say, you know, children are a class of people that are reliant on us as adults, whether they're mom and dad, you know, protecting their own kids. You know, my kids are, and your kids and everybody's are dependent on as many of us adults as possible to protect them. And it's not like even the smallest little old lady can pull out a pistol and shoot some 6, 8, 20-year-old that's getting ready to beat her to death and protect herself in that way. She can call the police. She can get in a car and drive away from the scene. She has the you know, the mentality to see, like, what's going on. This is a bad situation. I don't need to go here. I don't need to talk to that person. You know, whatever. But children, they don't have the stature. They don't have the mentality. They don't have the say so. You know, it's to protect themselves in a lot of ways, and they are solely dependent on us adults to be the adult to protect them. They are the one group of people that I feel like that, you know, totally dependent on us. And if we bring them all the way down to brain tumor death sentence, there's not going to be much protection from other people, because it's just like, why would I, you know, it's detrimental to my health. So get away, and if it dies, whatever happens to it, I don't really care. So that's why I think that that is a result of the increased acceptance of pedophilia. And I just say, for people, you know, to be careful with their words, that and getting whatever, which I feel like I don't know what people, when they go to that point of describing a child as a parasite or a healthcare or some, just glob of cells or whatever, when they get to that point and saying it, I don't really know where their mind is. It's just but anyway, that I say to us that, it's not only those that I feel like have caused that describe children in this way, that have caused the lowering of value of them. It is just us, me included, that has kind of let this kind of speech just blab on. And it's like, yeah, it's freedom of speech. You have the freedom to say what you want to, but we also have the freedom to say shut the hell up. And so it goes both ways. And I agree. I think it's a good thing for people to, like that, to be able to say what they want, because it lets me know who are the nut jobs out there, who do I completely need to, social media in a way has been a great thing for that, because it gives people the boldness to show who they really are inside of here. Not so much all they show, visually. Most of that is fake. It's almost like a staged, it's like watching a soap opera where, all day production just to create this fantasy life. But the words they say, the views they put out, is like, I'm glad I think everybody should be allowed to say everything they want to say. So like I say, the insane people it's more likely they will reveal themselves. They'll put that label, as a person I know, say give people enough rope to hang themselves. And that's exactly what social media, and I feel like has done, and is a good thing for society. And allowing it to be wide open, though you might see something that's feels hurtful or whatever, or at least you're able to see what that person is actually thinking and how they feel, that you probably wouldn't have in day-to-day life of meeting them. It's basically only maybe their children or wife or girlfriend or whatever, mom or dad, actually, that has spent a lifetime with these people, know how they really are. So that's all I need to say about that. Thank you.